Happy Independence Day, America, and happy Fete Nationale, France! So as you can see, I have my fabulous headband for the video today. It's red, white, and blue, so it works, lucky me, for both countries. France and the US actually have a lot of things in common when it comes to celebrating their independence. It's in the same month, we have the same colors, we all use the same crazy fireworks. But those are just the amateur stuff to know. And I know that most of my viewers are not amateurs when it comes to these two countries. So I've created a little 4th of July, 14 Juillet quiz for everyone. 15 questions about France and the US, plus I threw in some bonus ones from time to time. I'll start off easier and get harder, and it's a mix between history and just some random fun ones. Good luck, and let me know how you did in the comments below. Why is July 4th America's Independence Day? If you said signed the Declaration of Independence, you are wrong! This was actually the date that the Declaration of Independence was adopted by Congress, not signed. It was signed 1 month later by 56 people. Tricky, tricky already at the beginning. What is the founding document of modern France that was created during the Revolution? If you said the Declaration of Rights of Man and Citizen, you get a cookie and a point. This document was drafted right after the French Revolution, and they say that a majority of it, at least the first drafts, was written by Lafayette. And apparently he worked very closely with his good friend Thomas Jefferson. Warms my heart. But France didn't actually adopt or sign this document on their national day. So why is July 14th France's national day? If you said storming of the Bastille, you are right. The French people stormed the Bastille on July 14th, 1789. The Bastille at the time was actually a royal prison, and it held political prisons and a lot of the city's ammunition. So not only was this an efficient place to storm to start a revolution, but it was also pretty symbolic. And this is why in English we often call France's national day Bastille Day, even though literally nobody in France calls it that. Okay, it might have been easy to know when Bastille was stormed. However, do you know when the Bastille was actually created? Bonus points if you can tell me who had it built. Charles V actually built it in 1370. That is so long ago. And at the time when he actually built it, it wasn't supposed to be a royal prison for political prisoners. It was actually just supposed to be defense to protect the city of Paris. What year did the US start celebrating Independence Day? 1 year after the start of the revolution in 1777. And what year did France start celebrating their national day? Bonus points if you know where they had the very first celebration in Paris. 1790 is the year, so like the US, they started celebrating the next year. And they celebrated for the first year in Paris on Champ de Mars, right in front of the Eiffel Tower, which is also pretty fitting because that area was named after the god of war, so it seems like, again, a very symbolic place to be celebrating their independence. Lots of symbolic things with those Frenchies. This one's tricky. We just said that France started celebrating their Independence Day, like the US, 1 year after the revolution kicked off. But what year did France officially declare July 14th their national day? Over 100 years later, in 1880. But what's even better is that in 1880, it not only became their national holiday, it also became a paid day off of work. The French were already ahead of paid vacation, even in the 1800s. Who was the King of France on July 14th, 1789? And who was the US President on July 14th, 1789? If you said Louis XVI was King of France and George Washington was the President of the US, you are correct. Louis XVI went on to be guillotined, unfortunately, and fun fact about George Washington in 1789, this is the only year when a US presidential election actually spanned 2 calendar years. Because the voting started in December and it finished in January, it actually was voted on during 1788 and 1789. Nowadays, we vote in one day, so I don't think this is going to happen again. How many stars does the American flag have now? And how many stars did it have at its creation? It had 50 stars now and 13 at its creation. You are correct. The stars stand for the number of colonies or the number of states when the flag was first designed. So we've got 13 founding colonies and 50 states. What are the colors of the French flag? And bonus if you know what they stand for. You said red, white, and blue. You are wrong. The French actually say blue, white, and red in the order that you have them on the flag. And honestly, if you say red, white, and blue, it's wrong. It does not matter that it's the same mix of colors. One explanation for the colors is that the blue and red represent Paris and the white represents like the king and the royal family. And so you actually have Paris surrounding the royal family. I know that there's other explanations. So how about this one is kind of a go for everybody. You all get a point if you guess something. The US national anthem is the Star-Spangled Banner and the French's national anthem is the Marseillaise. Which country had their national anthem written before the other? And bonus points if you can name either of the authors and what year they wrote them in. If you said France, 1 point for you. So La Marseillaise was actually written in 1792 by a man named Claude Joseph Rouget de Lisle. I'm butchering his last name, so someone will help me in the comments, I'm sure. It was actually a battle song, a song for war that was adopted and became the French's national anthem. And what's funny is now that's not so surprising because I remember when I first learned it, I said, my goodness, it's so violent because it literally talks about enemies coming and slashing your wife and your children's throat in your home. I was like, whoa. And for the US, the Star-Spangled Banner, if you said that it was written in 1814 by Francis Scott Key, you got some bonus points. France's motto is liberty, equality, and fraternity. And in the US, our motto is in God we trust. But actually, in the US, there's a second motto that was used before in God we trust and that you still see a lot. Latin, and it's E pluribus unum. So if you guessed that right, you're correct. It means from many, one. And actually, you can see this written on a lot of government seals or on our money. Honestly, it's still living pretty strong. If you haven't seen it before, start to look around because you'll never miss it again. What is the oldest 4th of July tradition that can be traced back to the very first Independence Day celebrations in the US and is still a huge tradition in France and the US? Fireworks! John Adams actually wrote a letter to the entire population that was published, encouraging them to buy fireworks and light up the sky for the revolution. So it's a pretty trendy man, this Adams. Also, bonus if you can guess how much Americans spend on fireworks in July alone, collectively the country. $1 billion. What tradition do the French celebrate right before 14 Juillet? Bal de Pompier! This is such a fun tradition. So during the day, you can actually go and visit the fire station and get a tour. You can take kids, you get to meet all the firemen. It's really cool. And then at night, it's a massive party at the fire station. And it happens in all the different fire stations are like throughout France, but for example, all around Paris. This has been a tradition since the 1800s. And what's even more interesting is in the 1900s, this is where the French women met to meet a potential suitor. And apparently, it was very scandalous if you danced more than 3 dances with the same man that night. The military parade is a huge tradition that is known worldwide that the French have for celebrating their national day. What happened for the first time at the military parade in 1886? A woman, Miss Marie Vialard, was the very first woman to take part in the military parade as she was an active member of duty and was able to march next to all of her male colleagues. What food do Americans consume most on 4th of July? Bonus if you can guess how much money collectively Americans spend on this on that one day. Hot dogs! And if you guessed anywhere around 155 million, you are correct. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the little quiz. Looking forward to seeing how well you did in the comments below. Was it hard? Was it easy? Did you get a lot right? Not that many? I have to admit that I learned quite a lot when I was writing this video, so I don't think I would have done so great if I were taking it as a quiz. Enjoy all the celebrations, stay safe, bisous, and I'll see you all next week. Bisous!